We acknowledge the land on which Brock University is located is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and acknowledging reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous people. Before we go on, I would ask that you make sure that your microphones are muted. We are recording this talk, and we will stop recording at the beginning of the question and answer period. So my name is Mike Ripmeester. I am the acting chair of the Department of Geography and Tourism Studies. Welcome here. And I'm also, I should say, a member of the board of the Niagara Aspiring Geopark. So I have a vested interest in all of this. This event was organized as part of International Development Week, which aims to draw attention to international development and shine a spotlight on Canadians' contributions to eradicating poverty and to be a peaceful, inclusive, and part of a prosperous world. Thanks very much to Brock International for inviting us to participate in this event this year. And we're just going to quickly go over the agenda. I will introduce our guest speakers, who will then offer some words on the Niagara Aspiring Global Geopark and the sustainable development goals in the geopark, and then to think about what's going to happen next. And then finally, we will have some time for questions and answers at the end of the talk. Please do feel free to type them into the chat as the webinar goes on, and that will be monitored so that if you do have a question and you don't have to try to remember it till the end, you can just simply type it in and we'll deal with it when we get to the questions and answers. So at this point, I'd like to introduce our speakers. The first is Darren Platakis, who is an all-around good guy. Darren is a graduate of Brock University, Department of Geography in 2010 and Niagara College in 2011. He is also a member of the College of Fellows of the Royal Canadian Geographical Society, which is really quite something. And he's also a member of the Canadian Association of Geographers. Because of his founding of the Geospatial Niagara in 2013, Darren has been dedicated to developing educational opportunities and fostering economic prosperity through his community-minded projects, which is one of the reasons why he was elected to the Royal Geographical Society. One such project is the Niagara Peninsula Aspiring Geopark, and I can say that without any hesitation that Darren is absolutely, completely committed to this and bringing this to fruition. Geospatial Niagara, which is another one of Darren's projects, promotes geoliteracy and community participation through geography. Darren is passionate about geography, the geospatial industry, and understands his immense potential, or the immense potential, available through unique and fascinating geographical characteristics of the Niagara region. His strong belief in the potential of the Niagara Geopark extends through his own personal experience and passions, and I can speak to that for sure. He considers himself a spatial creative and can be reached at geospatialniagara@gmail.com. So welcome, Darren.
Thank you.
We also have as a guest speaker, Kamran Abbasov, who just recently defended his MA. So congratulations, Kamran. Kamran was born in Azerbaijan. He did his undergraduate studies in international relations at ADA University in Baku, Azerbaijan. Living in a developing post-Soviet country has shaped the way he sees justice and equity issues. After working about a year in the tourism industry, he realized how far tourism is from sustainability and ethical issues. This has led him to his interest in studying justice systems in tourism and how to address them. Kamran is a Master of Sustainability candidate, not anymore, he's finished, at Brock, who successfully, here we are, defended his thesis titled Income Inequality, Distributive Justice, and Sustainable Development, Implications for the Niagara Peninsula Aspiring Global Geopark. So welcome, Kamran. So at this point, Darren, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I guess the first question we should probably answer is what exactly is a geopark? The UNESCO definition is a single unified geographical area with geology of international significance. And that is managed with a holistic concept of protection, education, and sustainable development. But my favorite definition is the one provided on the screen right now by Patrick McKeever, who I like to affectionately call the godfather or the grandfather of the UNESCO Global Geoparks. It's those special places around the world that not only tell part of the history of the planet, but also celebrate how our geological heritage is linked to all other types of heritage. This forms the basis of community empowerment and the promotion of the area's sustainable economic development. Next. So there are 177 UNESCO Global Geoparks in 46 countries around the world, and we all belong to one network, and that's the UNESCO Global Geoparks as well as the Aspiring Geoparks. Currently, there are 5 UNESCO Global Geoparks in Canada and 6 Aspiring Geoparks, and the Niagara Peninsula Geopark will be the first one in Ontario. What do geoparks focus upon? Number 1 is education and research, also sustainable, responsible tourism, multicultural awareness, and geoconservation and geotourism. All of these are built upon collaborations. So for education and research, it's education in the K-12, as well as undergraduate and postgraduate research. Sustainable, responsible tourism is working with operators and network members towards the sustainable development goals. Promoting the diversity of our geopark as a strength within our community is multicultural awareness. And geoconservation and geotourism, it's the collaboration with our partners such as the Niagara Escarpment Biosphere Network, the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, to create itineraries and tours that show all of Niagara and all its capabilities and capacities. We have our own geopark sustainability statement, and we have adapted it from Fennell and Cooper. Working towards sustainable tourism in Niagara developed in such a manner and at such a scale that it remains viable indefinitely while safeguarding the Earth's life support systems on which the welfare of the current and future generations depends. Next. Every geopark and aspiring geopark works towards the sustainable development goals within their own management plans. Some geoparks are obviously larger than others in terms of staff capacity, et cetera. So some will work on one goal at a time over a year. Others that have larger capacities will work on more goals during their management plans range of years of operation. Depending on the plans in Niagara, we focus on 9 of them, but we do address all 17 in some capacities. The 3 key messages of our geopark is working to better understand our part in nature and to tread lightly upon the earth. We also respect our collective and highlight and promote our collective geological, cultural, indigenous, industrial, and agricultural heritage, and create educational, interactive educational programs for all ages and demographics. We also help sow and grow sustainable tourism experiences across Niagara by leveraging our partnerships and our partnerships with businesses and governments and schools, et cetera. And through all of this, we have our measures of success, which for the Niagara Peninsula Aspiring Geopark is increasing in tourism revenues, repeat visitation, visitor lengths of stay, the spend, and increasing the number of geotourism experiences. We have a code of practice for sustainable tourism among businesses of all types and sizes, and it's adapted from the code of practice from the Burren Cliffs of Moher UNESCO Global Geopark in Ireland. We encourage broad participation in our education programs, and our resources are being raised through memberships as well as partnerships and other funding opportunities. Going forward, if you'd like to reach out to connect with us, there is some information there. On the horizon, we have possible attendance of a Canadian Geopark Network workshop that's happening in June at the Percé UNESCO Global Geopark in Quebec, and as well as the international conference that is being held in Morocco in 2023. And currently, we are in the in-between process of submitting our application onto Paris. And at that point in time, when it is submitted, we should be expecting a visit from the international evaluators for the geopark. And then shortly thereafter, we'll be notified of our status. That's everything. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Darren. That's really great and a good overview of the park. So we'll hang on to questions for Darren until after we have Kamran. So Kamran, would you like to give us your talk now?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike, for this opportunity. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you, Darren, for informative talk. I must say that I'm a huge fan of your work. So let me share my screen. Okay. So again, thank you everyone for being here with us today. So as Mike said, my interest is about social justice and inequality. So I wanted to play my part and look at how Niagara's Geopark can help reduce income inequality in the region, which is covered under Sustainable Development Goal 10. So the first thing, why inequality? A lot of research showed that inequalities negatively affect, it increases poverty, it negatively affects people's health and well-being, political participation, it leads more racism and discrimination. And in Canada as well, income inequality has been rising and social mobility has been falling at the same time. So looking at our region, Niagara, since 1970s, a lot of manufacturing jobs were lost in the region, which were good paying jobs full-time, and they were replaced by low-paying short-term service jobs, which exacerbates income inequality. And it's been estimated that over 15,000 children there are 15,000 people living in poverty or experiencing some form of homelessness in the Niagara region. So this issue of inequality is an indispensable part of sustainable development. And unlike their predecessors, these goals, sustainable development goals, they show more concern for inclusivity, and out of 17, 11 of them address some forms of inequality. And it has to be commended that we have a standalone goal that addresses inequality within and among countries, which for many is the clearest statement we have ever had in addressing inequalities. Of course, there are certain shortcomings such as imprecise languages and vulnerability to political wills, but still it has to be a success. It has to be considered a success to have a standalone goal. So the question is that I am interested, and we are, and many people I'm sure are interested, is how can geoparks help alleviate poverty and income inequality? Because as we see, it is in their agenda, it's in their mission to help achieve sustainable development goals. Overall, it's UNESCO's reports, and there are many researchers has been done showing that geopark development actually helps foster implementation of sustainable development goals in their host regions. There are some reports showing that it helps alleviate poverty. For example, studies in China showed that, and they can also help reduce inequalities. An example could be from 4 Latin American geoparks, but there haven't been a study showing specifically how the means and channels through which how a geopark can help reduce income inequality. And when it comes to Canadian context, we have 5 geoparks, but none of them have a report or studies done showing how they help socioeconomic development of their host regions. And this type of issues, societal issues like inequality and justice, they haven't received enough attention. And geopark literature has been criticized that they don't pay enough attention for this type of for social role of geoparks. There's a taken for granted attitude that if we have a high potential of tourism, it will automatically lead to more benefits, which may not be the case in reality, right? We have other barriers that we need to overcome. And that's what I wanted to look at in our case, in the Niagara's Geopark case, to look at income inequality in the region and to see how Niagara's Geopark can contribute to the reduction of inequality. I looked at how income inequality is perceived in Niagara and how Geopark can help to that situation. And also I looked at how there are local people who are already involved in advocacy of reduction of inequalities or poverty. I wanted to see what are their expectations from the Geopark. And we also wanted to see how local tourism businesses can benefit from partnering with the Geopark, because Geopark pledges to promote geotourism. And we also looked at what could be the challenges and risks associated with our Geopark. So we conducted, we adopted the qualitative research method, conducted 16 semi-structured interviews, which were conducted over the course of 2 months online, and sometimes even it lasted like 2 hours, as some participants were really interested in the topic. It depending on their connection with the advocacy, of course. We had 16 participants, as I said. 9 of them were Geopark board members, 4 of them advocacy groups, and they were mostly connected through Niagara Poverty Reduction Network. And we had 2 participants from local tourism business related owners. And the collected data were analyzed through thematic analysis, which is basically looking at the themes and patterns that exist in participants' responses. So looking at income inequality in Niagara, so we wanted to see how income inequality is perceived in the region, because not every type of income inequality is unfair. If the system of the rule and the basic structure is just, then the fact that there is inequality is not a cause for complaint. So, but in Niagara, it is a problem because a lot of participants said that we have a big homelessness issue, and adding on top of that, we have a lot of people struggling with mental health and drug addiction, which is worsened by a lack of support, which basically their basic right of housing in that case is not met. And adding on top of that, ethnicity, they said that ethnicity, social background, and gender play a significant role in people standing in income spectrum and their life prospects. So looking at that, their basic rights are not met. Their social background, the birth lottery, as we say, or there's a huge nepotism issue, as some participant mentioned. So all these issues just prevent young people to have equal chances for success. So that's what we wanted to look at, how Niagara's Geopark can help with that. So and the results show that we have Niagara's Geopark provide opportunities for 2 types of benefits. We have economic benefits and societal benefits. Economic benefits are mostly direct, let's say, providing job opportunities, but they have incremental impact because it is not the main issue. It's not the main problem that the Geopark is focusing. They need more partnerships. That is why it has incremental impact just looking at by Geopark itself. And the societal benefits that it provides, it may be indirect, but it has necessary implications for addressing income inequality. For example, if you look at the top corner, we have getting everyone on board. the geopark provides opportunity to get everyone on board in the management, to raise awareness, to provide educational opportunities for especially children from poor families. It provides, it makes people be proud. It helps people be proud and feel togetherness. So we can look at them closer. For example, economic benefits. When we say economic opportunity, it has been argued that the available opportunities, let's say job or training opportunities within the geopark, it needs to be advertised to everyone equally. And in that case, the geopark's website could be a useful tool to have all the listings. It is also expected that the geopark will promote destination marketing for areas other than the giants we have, Niagara Falls, because that area receives lion's share of tourism benefits, but not other areas. It is in the geopark's interest and mission to look at how they can promote other areas in a complementary manner to Niagara Falls. It is expected that the geopark will help showcasing the authenticity of the Niagara region, and for that, the effective use of social media is important to attract people in the area. And also, it is geopark can help highlighting businesses with sustainability component specifically, while encouraging them to be living wage employers, which is an important aspect of it. And also, while doing that, geopark offers opportunity for those businesses to build partnership, to bring more business to each other. So here I want to show some of the posts that I've seen in geopark social media, which I think is really commendable. They're inviting businesses and organizations to connect. They're promoting some of the works of the coaches and let's say tour guides, showing the importance of the work they do, how it is connected to sustainable development goals. When it comes to societal benefits, first and foremost, it offers to get everyone on board. The management of the geopark, it offers inclusivity. It should represent, as both geopark board members said, and as it is expected from them, to represent diverse groups. So with this inclusivity in their mind, it will help them make sure that the benefits that come through geopark will be distributed equitably among all the citizens, all the residents of Niagara region. An educational component is another big important aspect of the geopark that has been raised. It will help raise awareness of the problems of social justice and inequality in the region, given that we have Brock University, Niagara College, this type of educational institutions. Partnering with them will help massively. And this inclusive and equitable quality education is highly relevant for reducing inequalities. As one of the geopark board members said, the ones that we know had no role to play in this circumstance are kids. So it is imperative that we help those kids through those educational opportunities. And also, another important problem, one of the most important things, that it will help engender a sense of pride and belonging, feeling togetherness among the members who are connected through geopark, which will help those people truly care about the region, and it will connect the like-minded people to look at the issues such as equity or environment. It is also expected that the geopark can help with advocating accessibility of opportunities, or in our case in Niagara, we have a problem of public transport, and as an international student, I can attest to that. So public transport is not very satisfactory. So geopark can connect with other organizations and join the forces to advocate for it, which will benefit not only for visitors but locals as well. So here I wanted to bring one excerpt from another participant who said that he's a big fan of parking fees because the higher the better, and especially when those parking fees are reinvested in public transit and alternative modes of transportation. In that case, it will not create inequality, those parking fees, rather they will address inequality. Oh, and looking at and asking those participants some of the limiting factors and risks that are also revealed. Some of them said that it's not their primary goal to address inequality, and they said that this type of problems, inequality, it is rather a wicked problem that requires the deeper structural and transformative changes. But when it came to risks, they didn't say, the participant didn't expect a lot of risks. They see it rather mostly a positive thing. There could be certain environmental problems, price inflation, or being dependent on tourism, but they are mostly dependent on how successful. If the geopark is crazy successful, then in that case, those risks may come in play. So in the end, this study showed that inequalities, as the participant argued, inequalities in Niagara are deep-rooted and require more transformative changes. But they also said that with the right inclusive management and building right partnerships, Niagara's geopark can be one of the agents at the forefront contributing to this cause and alleviating income inequality and overall inequality as well. And that was all. Thank you so much for your time being here. It's my pleasure to speak.
Thank you so much.